what, weeks in a row like this? It's fun.
Just curious of the table or the code.
When you watched the last game, what stood out to you on offense you felt really worked? Gave you guys a good day.
I think just when you look at what we've been doing the last couple weeks, just continuously building on the momentum we've had and just feeling comfortable with where we are going forward. I think that's the biggest thing. I think we just kind of we're in a good spot right now where we're just putting things together and staying on track. And in the game the other day, we did some other things that we wanted to do that were a little bit different too, to see if we can push the envelope and continue to progress in certain areas. And I think we did a good job from that standpoint.
How much is the emphasis with Saquon been, he called it dirty runs, making sure, he stops the negative ones if it's blocked for three, get, 3.
Mm-hmm.
How much has that been an emphasis with him or you guys with him?
I think really, and him and I have talked about this, he's taken it upon himself to make sure he can do anything and everything he can, obviously, to help us win and keep us on track. And early in the year, unfortunately, we had some negative runs here or there, but it's not always one person, right? It's everybody. It's coaches, players, it's everybody all included in that. So when those kind of things happen, you want to always look at that and see what you can do better from there. And obviously, everybody takes it upon themselves to try to improve and do something, constructive to get that going in the right direction, so we don't have those negative plays. And he did a tremendous job. I mean, he really did a really good job. But the whole line did a good job. And you look at it, it's kind of the whole body of work, right? We were doing different things in the run game to where we were creating space different ways and it executed, in a good fashion. But I think ultimately it's everybody, and a lot of the guys want to do their part to make sure we stay on track, because that's kind of been our thing, that we've got to continuously stay ahead of the sticks and stay on track so we can get it going.
You talked a lot about staying on track, staying in third and manageable situations, but you guys are really efficient on second down against the Commanders. I guess, what do you attribute that success to, and how do you balance the aggression on second down with also keeping in mind trying to get into third and manageable situations?
I think really when you play the downs out in order, kind of, right? First down, second down, third down, you're always trying to do something to set up something down the road or to stay, obviously ahead of the sticks. There's always that divide of second and pass, second and run potentially, where a defense can start to say, okay, now we got to get ready for them to do this, or now we're at an advantage. So when the defense has an advantage over you, it's usually the second and longer, right? And so that's why first down is so critical. But then when you're in second down and you can try to push the pace and you're in that middle of the road second down, second and 6, 5, 4, now, you're open to anything you want to do. And that's been really critical for us going forward. And then it keeps you in a manageable third down. Obviously, if you can go from first to first or first, second to first, that's ideal. But, I think it's just a matter of sequencing things and staying on track. And back to your, point two, is just not having those negative plays so that we can keep pushing forward and be on the attack and not trying to figure out a way to be in a manageable situation.
How satisfying was it that a lot of your success in the ground came on inside zone stuff that previously you guys have kind of leaned into and kind of made some of your standard run plays?
Yeah, I think it's been exciting just watching those guys execute, and I think it's a whole body of work. Like, we've had it in moments. It's just continuously stringing those together. And Fred's done a good job, and all those guys working together now. It's been multiple weeks they're all together out there working through this. So I think that's been a big piece of it. And the tight ends did a tremendous job. Like, Dallas did a really good job on the backside of some of those, the front side of the runs. And then obviously the receivers are in play. Devontae had a big block to spring the long run. So I think it's a little bit of everybody, but it's very satisfying to just see us do what we need to up front and understand that it may not be like that again the next time. So we got to find a different way. If it's not the inside zone, maybe it's the mid zone. We just got to find what we need to in each game to keep it going and keep that run game alive.
Stretch where AJ wasn't probably getting the ball as much as you guys wanted to. Last 5 games, it hasn't been the case. What change do you feel you guys made in order to get AJ the ball?
I wouldn't say there's a huge major change. Like, every game we go into, obviously, we've talked about this before. The primary guys are, in the run game, it's Saquon, then it's AJ, Devontae, and Dallas, and that's where the ball's going in the pass game. So I think the amount of volume going into each game was the same, and some of it's a little bit how the game goes and unfolds and things like that. But he's done a good job of challenging himself to just do everything he can, whether it's more, move around, whatever we got to do to continuously get him the ball. And obviously Jalen's done a good job too. I think when you look at the full pass game with all those guys, we can put them anywhere. So when you can put those guys anywhere, they all could be the primary at any point in time. And so that's where you kind of feed off each other. Devontae gets going, then all of a sudden AJ, then Dallas. And so you can kind of feel that energy and they all just get excited for each other. And the numbers just keep increasing.
In the passing game, what do you like about going empty? I mentioned that to Jalen after the game. He seemed to really perk up. He seems to really enjoy it. So what does that do for you guys?
Empty, it depends on obviously each quarterback, right? And some quarterbacks love it and some are, whatever with it. And I've had a lot of empty in my background just with different coaches I've been and Nick and I've done in Indianapolis and other places and here obviously. And Jalen's really good at it. And so I think when you can get an empty, it obviously, if it helps the quarterback, it helps the whole offense. And there's some things you got to do, you can do out of it, right? Run game and pass game and kind of have the defense on its heels. So empty is something that you can do in each game. It just presents itself differently, whether it's free releasing a back out of the backfield, whether it's aligning in a 5-wide look type where you're all flexed out. So there's different ways to get to it. And he does a really good job with it. And he did a really good job in the game. And I think anytime we can do that for him, we're going to do it.
You mentioned the momentum that you feel like you guys are building on offense. After each of the last 2 games, you've talked about some matchup dependent things like empty against Washington's base defense, under center against the Raiders. I guess, how much do you feel like these things will be applicable once you guys are in the postseason?
I think, finding each game, there's going to be something that we have to do to make the defense kind of get on their heels. And that's the key, right? So I think finding those things, and a lot of our games this year have been different. We've had different game plans, different ways we've kind of won. We've gone about different games. We've had different things pop up that, have not been on tape. So it's attacking those in game. And so whenever you're attacking a defense, you want to make sure that that they have something that you gotta fix or get after early. And so I think that's the biggest thing. It's just finding different ways and really gives our guys confidence and just continuously builds the momentum of, hey, we've done this against this defense, this against this defense, this against this defense, and continue to build on that. I think that's where we're trending in the right direction.
You're doing under center for like 45% of the snaps against the Raiders. Not as much, but you did have some successful runs at it. Like, where do you stand with that? Is that just kind of like one of the tools in the toolbox, or do you envision leaning into that more so that it will eventually open up play action and opportunities to throw off that?
Yeah, I think we talked about this last week a little bit, and each game is different, right? So it's really dependent on sometimes the defensive techniques, right? What they do, how they play them, what the run game looks like that week, what we're trying to do in the run game and trying to match that all up and then marry it up. So I think that's a big piece of it. And then there's certain strategies we use that were in game that it was like, okay, this wasn't going to be under center because of what we were doing strategically. But I think it's been good for us. Jalen's done a great job of the play action stuff under center. We did a few the other day. We had some obviously against the Raiders, and even in the past, you go back to the Vikings, we've done a good job with it, and he's done a really nice job. So we will continue to lean on that. And I think it's just a matter of matching the run game and just finding those moments where, hey, this looks the same, and this is what we want to do.
Early in the season, we talked a lot about unscouted looks. Doesn't seem like we're talking about it as much. Is that just you guys still seeing different stuff, but being better at handling it, or is it starting to settle down?
I think when you go throughout the full year, you start to see early in the year there's some trends, and then you kind of keep getting them, and they might go in and out. So I think it's just seeing a lot of different things, and the players have done a great job of just in-game moment changing and adapting to what we need to do. And even in practice, we challenge them frequently with different looks and give hard looks so that sometimes plays don't look great in practice, but that's okay because we're testing them. So I think it's just working from game one into now, we are getting a wide variety of stuff, and it's actually helped us up to this point to see different things in game and have something to refer back to. I think that's the biggest thing with players and even coaches, when you can refer to something else, a moment in time, a play, a scheme, a defense, this year, last week, you have something to draw upon, right? So you have an experience that you say, oh, that's like that. Here's what this is going to do, and here's how we can fix this or go forward with it.
We'll do a couple more for defense. The numbers are not good against the run. They're very good against the pass. Is that just schematically that Sean wants to entice teams in the running more, so he's okay with that, or is that just is that more of an indication of the personnel and how they play?
When you watch them on tape, they're a very active defense. They do a lot. They challenge you in a lot of ways. That was kind of the big message today. They do a lot of different things. And so I don't think there's one thing that they do that you can say, well, this is a weakness of their defense, because they do challenge you in so many different ways. And I think some of it, too, when you look at it, like some of the scores that they've been in different games, it's kind of different. So they're playing different modes on defense. But they're a very active defense. They do a really nice job. I wouldn't say there's one specific thing that they do that indicates, the pass or run tendencies that they have. And really, when you watch throughout the years, we played him a couple years ago, and he's even changed from then, obviously. They've changed a lot of different things that they like to do. So I think they've evolved nicely, and they've got good players that play extremely hard. They play together, and that's the biggest thing. They play together, and you can see that in their energy on the field. So we got a good challenge ahead of us. We got to make sure we match their energy and come out ready to go.
Good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.